Drop the checkbook. You were never part of this family, my mom barked, after trying to steal $240,000 in my name for my brother's house. Then watch your dreams rot in court, I said, while freezing the deal, reporting the fraud, and triggering the collapse before they even saw it coming. Drop the checkbook. You were never part of this family. Her words landed like a slap, but it wasn't the first, just the first time she'd said it out loud. I stood at the kitchen counter, manila folder in hand. Inside, loan documents bearing my name, forged signatures, financial statements, all tied to a house I didn't know existed until last week. Excuse me? I choked. You heard me, she snapped. You're just a guest here, Nate. Always were. My older brother, David, sat smugly at the dining table, swirling his drink. My dad, quiet, retired, withdrawn, stood by the back window like he was waiting for the storm to pass. But this wasn't a storm. This was war. I'm Nate Harper. 24. I work full-time in IT support, live in a modest studio apartment in Phoenix, and drive a reliable used Corolla. I'm responsible, cautious, quiet. But inside, I've been screaming for years. I've always been the one who kept his head down. The easy kid. The kid who didn't need attention, so I never got it. While David wrecked 2 cars, dropped out of college, and got bailed out of debt at least 3 times, I was the one paying my way through trade school, eating canned tuna, and fixing mom's laptop at 2 a.m. during flu season. Now, they've gone too far. They used my credit. $240,000 co-signed. Without my consent, to help David buy a home in Scottsdale. A home I would never live in, never benefit from, never afford myself. And when I confronted them, they treated me like... Ig was the betrayal. The family cost and how they failed me. Linda Harper, Mom 61. Retired teacher. Believes in family unity, but only when it serves her favorites. Master manipulator behind David's loan scheme. Thomas Harper, Dad 66. Retired Army vet. Emotionally unavailable. Talks in phrases, not paragraphs. Lets things happen around him. Says little, but his silence cuts deep. David Harper, brother 32. Failed real estate agent, now trying again. Chronic mess with charm. Thinks rules are flexible when you smile enough. Always mom's priority. And me, I'm the one who was always careful. The one they never protected because I never needed saving until now. You're blowing this out of proportion, David muttered. It's just paperwork, Mom said again. It's felony fraud, I replied, voice shaking. You signed for a $240,000 loan in my name. You faked my approval. That's identity theft. It's a federal offense. For your brother, Nathaniel, Mom scolded. You know how hard it's been for him. You have a good job, good credit. It's not like you were using it. I looked at her in disbelief. I was saving for a house of my own. I said, but I guess that dream's irrelevant if it doesn't benefit David. Don't guilt trip us, David barked. You're acting like some victim. This is how families help each other. No, I replied. This is how families use each other and call it love. They didn't know what I'd done, not yet. For weeks, I'd gathered evidence, pulled my credit report, consulted a lawyer, quietly froze the loan, alerted the bank to the fraud. I made my moves in silence because I knew if I told them, they'd spin it like they always did. But I didn't need approval anymore. The banks pulled funding, I said flatly. The mortgage is dead. The house won't close. David's smirk dropped. His glass trembled slightly in his hand. What the hell are you talking about? I reported the fraud. That folder? I tapped it. Certified evidence, including the forged documents. The financial advisor you used is under investigation. I was listed as a silent cosigner, meaning I had legal liability but no equity. You were about to screw me over permanently. Mom looked stunned for a moment, then furious. You would destroy your brother's life over this. He was fine destroying mine. When I was 17, I got into Northern Arizona University. Full ride except for housing. I came to them, excited, ready to start my life. Mom sat me down and smiled. "We can't help you, sweetheart," she said gently. "We're still recovering from David's situation." David had totaled a second car. No insurance. He needed $10,000 in restitution. They used my college fund. I remember Dad nodding quietly, while David shrugged in the corner, scrolling on his phone. I swallowed my pride. I skipped college, took night classes in IT, worked 48 hours a week, lived in a roach-infested apartment with no AC. Never complained. And now, they used my name again, not to help me, but to save him. Again. As Mom paced the kitchen, something broke in her. "We did what we had to," she muttered. "He needed the house. You needed to lie to your son to do it." David lunged toward me. "You don't understand, Nate. I was gonna flip the property, get out of debt, help Mom and Dad retire better. I had it planned." "You were drowning," I said, "and you tied a brick to my ankle." So then Dad, quiet, tired Dad, spoke. "Enough." Everyone froze. "Nate's not wrong." Mom stared at him. "What are you saying?" she whispered. He sighed. "I didn't know about the signature, but I knew they were using his info. I let it happen, because it was easier." And then the real twist. "This isn't the first time," I said. I pulled another paper from my folder, a statement from an old loan in 2019. A smaller one, $15K. Also in my name. "You already used me before," I said. "And I didn't even know." Mom looked like she might faint. David's mouth opened and closed. "We did it for the family," she whispered. "Then the family dies with that lie," I said. "I sacrificed everything for this family," I said, voice steady now. "My education, my savings, my peace of mind. I didn't ask for payback. I asked for honesty." David threw his glass against the wall. It shattered, splintering like our bonds. "You smug little bastard," he shouted. "You think you're better than me?" "I don't think I'm better," I said. "I think I'm just done being used." Mom was crying now, hands over her mouth. Dad sat down heavily, as if the truth had weight. "I'll press charges if I have to," I said softly. "This isn't vengeance. This is justice." "You're not family anymore," Mom sobbed. I nodded. "I know. I haven't been for a long time." And then I walked out, quietly, dignified, unbroken. 3 days later, David texted me. "I messed up. I know it doesn't mean anything, but I'm sorry." I didn't respond. But I didn't delete it either. A week later, Dad came to my apartment. Alone. "I failed you," he said. "And not just now. For years." I looked at him. He looked old. Not just aged, but worn. "You watched them burn me," I said. "I know," he whispered. "And I did nothing, but I see you now. I really do." It wasn't enough, but it was something. It's been 3 months. The loan's dead. The house fell through. David moved back in with Mom. I'm still in my studio, still working IT. But I'm looking at new places. For me, this time. Mom hasn't called. Dad sends texts now and then, not long ones, just, "Proud of you, son." That's new. And me, I still feel the sting. I still wonder why I wasn't enough for them until I fought back. But I'm not bitter. Not anymore. Forgiveness is a long road. I may not walk it with them, but I've started walking it for myself. I'm building something of my own. Something honest. Something real. No forged signatures. No lies. Just me. Alive. Free. And finally, seen. If this story hit home, hit like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Have you ever been used by family, financially or emotionally? What would you have done in Nate's shoes? Would you have reported them? Stayed silent? Fought back? Drop your story in the comments. Let's talk about boundaries, self-worth, and choosing healing. Even when it means walking away from the people who raised you, you don't need to stay where you're not valued. You're allowed to protect your future, even if it means letting go of your past.